Gal Luft comes out and says, I know Hunter Biden. I've known the Bidens for a long time. And I had a think tank that was very well respected by many people in Washington. I had the CIA director, former guy James Woolsey, in partnership with me on this think tank. I was cited in MSNBC and NBC and all these other mainstream news outlets for years, thanks to my knowledge of China policy and so on in my think tank. Well, he says in March of 2019, under President Trump, I called the FBI and said, I need to meet with you about the Bidens. I'm very tight with this Chinese energy company, which is very tight with the Communist Party over in China. And I happen to know, thanks to my ties to this CEFC, that the Bidens are up to no good. The Bidens are taking money from these guys, and including while Joe Biden was the sitting vice president, this was happening. So I've got things I want to tell you. So the FBI goes over, they meet with him, along with 2 U.S. attorneys. And he, according to him, tells them the whole thing. He does not believe there's any follow-up. And then a year later, October of 2020, he dispatches his lawyer stateside to have another meeting with the U.S. attorney who basically tells him, look, we're a month away from the election and pursuant to DOJ policy, we don't investigate the family or the candidate who's about to be on the ballot. And the next thing Gal Luft knows, it's February of 21, I guess, or no, it was actually a year later, February of 22, and he gets arrested. And they accuse him of weapons sales, of not registering as a foreign agent, and of lying to the FBI. Then he comes out with his whistleblower video just last week and says this is all part of trying to smear me. I'm the one who reached out to them. They're trying to discredit me. Could be that. Could be Gal Luft realized he was in a whole host of trouble and decided to play a card he had to make it look like the whole thing was a setup of Gal Luft. We don't know. But what's interesting to me, Margot, is the absolute disinterest in the story until at Gal Luft's request, the indictment against him, which happened months ago, was unsealed. And now finally the media has a way of hitting him severely to talk about these allegations. Now they have some interest in it. So what do you make of it all?
Well, this again is part and parcel of what has been going on with both the media and the FBI and DOJ. So as you mentioned, this goes back to March of 2019. And the assistant U.S. attorneys who talked with him were the ones who were prosecuting the other folks involved in the Chinese business maneuvering. And you might remember that they are the ones who said, we don't want the Biden name mentioned in the indictment. So that was a connection already. What happened to that 2019 interview? I think that goes back to how much has been buried here. And just yesterday, Congressman Comer requested the FBI turn that information over. And as you said, we don't know, is he playing a card or was he really being set up by the government? The thing to keep in mind here is anytime you have someone who knows the inside details, they're usually not good guys. That's how you get the criminals usually. You either be them, you bug them, or you flip them. Those are the three main ways. So the fact that he might have been in bed with the Chinese Communist Party, that doesn't say anything other than, hey, if he knows the Chinese Communist Party and was in bed with them, so was Hunter Biden. That was the same exact company.
That's what he's saying. Now, if this guy was facilitating weapons sales to places like Libya, it's a problem. Or dealings with Iran, against whom we have sanctions, it's a problem. But they also have charged him with violating FARA, F-A-R-A, the Foreign Agent Registration Act, which requires if you're working in the United States on behalf of a foreign government that you disclose it so we know exactly who we're dealing with. And they're saying he didn't. But he raised in his video, Gal Luft did, If I did that, then Hunter Biden did that in spades and potentially other members of the Biden family. So how am I indicted for this? I want to correct myself, that the indictment came down in February of 23, just unsealed this week at his request. If I am guilty of that and being prosecuted for that, how is Hunter Biden not getting prosecuted for that?
Exactly. But then again, how is Hunter Biden not getting prosecuted for the false statement to get the gun when everyone else is? So this is part and parcel of the collaboration between the media, the DOJ, and the FBI to protect the Biden family. And whether Gail Luft is a arms dealer and a bad guy or not, you still need to follow up on this information. And that's where March of 2019, they should have been following up. You got to tie this all into also what Senator Grassley has said, that the FBI purposefully buried information. We had FBI headquarters, Brian Auten, who the whistleblower claimed opened up an assessment so that the FBI could falsely label things disinformation. We also
wait, just to add to that, just so the audience can follow. So this guy Brian Auten is an anti-Trump guy inside the FBI who's been maneuvering things inside the FBI against Trump and to protect Biden for a long, long time. And there are real questions being asked now, including of Christopher Wray. Why is this guy still employed? Why is he still in the FBI?
Absolutely. And Megyn, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because yesterday when those questions were posed to Ray, there was a really good point that I hadn't thought of. After Auten was already in internal investigation for what he did in Crossfire Hurricane, he was somehow still involved in and started doing this assessment that came to the information. I'm sorry, how can you possibly do that? That you have the person that's under investigation for politicizing in Crossfire Hurricane now involved in this situation. So
Stinks.
again, this has so many webs and so many legs to it. But the bottom line is very simple. We have a well-respected confidential human source who told the FBI that the owner of Burisma had
now we
said
switched just to reset the scale, the scene. So we're moving from Gal Luft in China over to Ukraine and
Yes.
Hunter's many dealings there. Go ahead.
Right. So we're now back to Ukraine, but we have the biggest bombshell here, which is Burisma's owner told a confidential human source with years of credible experience working with our government under the Obama administration that Burisma paid $5 million to Joe and $5 million to Hunter. He actually called him the big guy. So the Ukraine owner called him the big guy before the laptop story broke. That 1023 was sent to Delaware to be investigated. And it doesn't look like any investigation happened. Our whistleblowers didn't know anything about that document. So the Gal Luft might be a different country, but it's the same story of pay to play.
Some people take CBD for better sleep or less stress and more calm. Some take it for pain relief, for better energy or better focus and concentration. Today, I want to tell you about CB Distillery and their over 2 million satisfied customers. According to a poll of their customers, 90% reported that they sleep better with CBD, 81% said CBD helps with stress, and 80% said CBD helps with aches and pain after physical activity. If you struggle to get a good night's sleep, if you're dealing with too much stress and could use a little calm in your life, if you suffer with pain and discomfort, especially after physical exercise, you could give CBD a try from cbdistillery.com. Use my 20% discount by visiting cbdistillery.com and enter my initials MK for your discount. No prescription required. That's CB Distillery, DISTILLERY.com, promo code MK for 20% off cbdistillery.com. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.